Here we go again. PayPal, Mr. 42nd Street Pete at yahoo.com. Website, 42ndstreetpete.net. eBay, Blackjack Morgan. Email, grindhousepurgatory at gmail.com. Ain't a very merry one so far, I'll tell you that. But hey, free Luigi anyway. So let's get back to our show here. We'll back this off. We'll get it down to where we can see everything. And we will go from there. So, here we are. Here's Blanca. Yeah, she's a good girl. She is very, very needy because of what's going on here. But anyway, Monster Kids. Let's go back to 1962 or 3 for a movie called The Brain That Wouldn't Die, co-billed with Invasion of the Star Creatures. And yes, this is an authentic insert or whatever the hell they used to put in the theaters, which I would sell. So anyway, looks like The Brain was finished in '59, but didn't get flipped to AIP to distribute till '63. And it was directed by Joseph Green, who basically imported kung fu movies after this, and I think he had something to do with some cat fight films or something. But anyway, that's sort of incorporated because anyway, we have Herb Evers, who became Jason Evers down the road, and Virginia Leap, who really hated the movie. So anyway, it starts off in an operating suite, and the good doctor gets a phone call from his assistant Kurt that something is wrong in the big house. So he gets Virginia in the car, and they're driving up to the big house when all of a sudden he loses control of the car and goes over the divide, and he's thrown free, but you know, we hear all this wonderful library music. A lot of it was used in Night of the Living Dead and Bill Greffy's Death Curse at Tartu. So we get that as he basically goes to the car and throws his jacket on the front seat and pulls her head off, which is severed. So then he's basically, we got about, I don't know, seems like forever where he's trying to run back to the house, you know, staggering and stuff like that. And oddly, the head is carried at crotch level, so maybe he's getting a little head before it ends here. But anyway, he hooks up his fiancée to this contraption made out of, it looks like vacuum cleaner hoses and telephone cords. And he is going to go out and get her a new body. But she is loath to this thing, and she keeps saying, "Let me die." So anyway, a failed experiment is kept in the closet, which is probably where we got the whole monster in the closet deal. And it's played by Eddie Carmel, the world's most tallest man, the Jewish giant. So she can telepathically communicate with this guy, this creature, and this scares the shit out of Kurt, who's another victim of a botched experiment because they tried to graft an arm on him and it sort of withered up and shit. So anyway, the doctor visits various strip clubs and places like this in search of a perfect body, and then he has this one girl in a dressing room, and this other girl comes in, and then there's a cat fight. And the cat fight was sort of clipped out for theatrical release because this was, you know, like I said, Invasion of the Star Creatures was a comedy. And these were booked at kiddie matinees. So cat fights were a no-no. But anyway, he finds this other girl, Doris, who was played by Adele something. I think it was the only time she ever appeared on camera. Who has a really great body, but is scarred over here. Well, the good doctor has decided that basically, you know, he can take her back and make her pretty again, at least from the neck down. So he takes her, you know, with a bunch of bullshit that, you know, my father's a plastic surgeon, we eat up at the house, you know, we can do this. So they go over there and he drugs her and he takes her into the basement to basically do what he's got to do. But before he gets there, Kurt goes to feed the thing in the closet, and the thing in the closet grabs his good arm and yanks it through the hole in the feeding thing, ripping the arm off, and Kurt basically has a ripped off arm, and he's staggering around, rubbing against walls, making sure blood goes everywhere, goes upstairs into the living quarters, and stays there for some weird amount of time, then decides to go back downstairs and die. Well, the doctor brings the girl in and drugs her, like I said, and then he goes downstairs to find Kurt dead and covers him with a sheet, and then carries the girl down and puts her on the table and is ready to saw her head off. Well, at that point in time, she gets in contact with the thing in the closet and starts smashing it against it, and basically gets out by holding the doctor's neck in one arm and breaking the door off the hinges. Then he basically bites a huge chunk out of the doctor's neck and spits it on the floor. That was cut out too. So now you see the creature walk over and pick up the unconscious stripper and walk out upstairs with her. I guess they're leaving or something like that, while the head cackles insanely, and it fades to black and then says, "I told you." A voice comes out and says, "I told you you should let me die." Well, then the end credits come up, and the end credits weirdly say the head that wouldn't die. The brain that wouldn't die was block letters in the beginning, so obviously there was a title change there. This thing bounced around on a lot of public domain labels for a while, and the cut version floated around, like I said, made the kiddie matinees and things like that, and it definitely ain't for fucking kids. There was a lot of publicity shots with this very, whatever her name was, Doris, Adele, whatever, with her being carried around in a leopard skin bikini or something like that by Eddie Carmel as this creature. So as makeup goes and creatures goes, this thing is really fucked up. One eye's up here, one eye's down there, pinhead, really weird. But again, another slice in time and something we were subjected to when we were kids. I think this ran late at night. I do recall it running in a kiddie matinee. Like I said, here's the double bill, and usually on the top of this, it's bigger here. You can see this. There's usually a build-up with a box in it where they stamp the theater name in it, but for collector's purposes, I guess they cut it off so you could frame it, so that's the way I got this thing. But it's original. So that's our show for today. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for tuning in. Above all, stay safe, and we'll catch you on the flip side.